All right. Thank everyone for coming tonight, and at this time I call our meeting to order. I'll offer an invocation, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we just thank you as we know we are so blessed to be born in a country that we have so many rights and so many privileges. And we just ask that you would look favorably upon this community, upon our country in the days to come, as there are so many issues right now that threaten our livelihood and even our lives. We just ask that you would be with those that have lost loved ones and those that have been traumatized by the work of people. It's just generally by people and not so much nature. We just can't seem to get along with each other. We know that we have our own wants and desires, but we need to recognize that you know what we need before we even ask. Help us to be more in tune with you and in your plan for our lives and not in the ways of this world. We ask that you would guide us, direct us in the ways that you would see fit. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is the adoption of the business agenda. I'd like to ask if anyone has any conflicts with any of the items that are on the agenda before I call for a motion for it to be approved.
Mr. Mayor, I would request to be excused from 6A due to a conflict I have.
6A. Okay, Mr. Steinbach has asked to be recused from one item on here. Somebody like to make a motion with that amendment to it? Do you want to make the motion, Rex?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to recuse Councilman Steinbach from item 6A.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the matter? If there is not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion will be approved. We still haven't adopted the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda as stated
With that amendment.
with that amendment, with the recusal of Councilman Steinbach.
Okay, the motion by Councilman Bell. Here a second to his motion.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Is there any more discussion on the matter? If there is none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The agenda would be approved with the one amendment that was made. Public comment. We have one individual on unscheduled public comment, Mr. McDaniel.
My name's Jerry McDaniel. I live at 701 Carolina Street, Lumber Rapids, North Carolina. Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask you a question. I'm just confused me. When I told you I dumped enough coal ash in the wrong road that moved the city limits over into Northampton County Road, moved the paper mill property line over, and I said, I guess it'd be the county line that moved with it. We dumped so much coal ash into the road. And I was coming in before you one night, and you stopped me and you said, Jerry, there's nothing that the city council, they don't care anything about coal ash in the river. They don't know anything about coal ash in the river, and they don't care to know anything about coal ash in the river. Mr. Mayor, when you told me that, I thought you were lying. If you'll tell me anywhere along the line, the past council, because you're not by yourself up there. Anywhere along the line, if all y'all agreed that you didn't want to hear anything about coal ash in the river, that is an environmental anomaly that needs to be addressed. Some people won't even tell their own neighbors there's coal ash in that river. And this Forest distillery, who would buy a rundown sewing factory and try to open a distillery just downstream of a paper mill. That's a sham. And there's a lot of people in on it, the usual suspects. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and you're going to be hearing more from me on coal ash. Thank you very much, ladies.
Next item is the approval of the council minutes for July the 16th.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve July 16, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes as drafted.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bryant and a second by Mr. Bell. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Minutes will be approved. Call on the clerk for a couple of committee appointments.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. The Roanoke Canal Commission consists of representatives appointed by the Roanoke Rapids City Council, Town of Weldon Commissioners, and Halifax County Commissioners. There are currently 2 vacancies on the commission who will represent the city of Roanoke Rapids. You may notice on the commission roster that several elected officials represent their respective local governments on this board. Councilman Rex Steinbach has requested to serve as one of the city's representatives on the Roanoke Canal Commission and has submitted a volunteer application for your consideration. I respectfully request City Council consider a motion to appoint Rex Steinbach to the Roanoke Canal Commission.
Okay, do we hear such a motion?
I'll make the motion to appoint Rex Steinbach to the Roanoke Canal Commission.
Second.
Okay, again, we have a motion by Ms. Bryant, a second to the motion by Mr. Bell. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Steinbach be reappointed.
Thank you.
Senior Center.
The terms for Ann Gibbs, Loretta Riddick, and Lisa Vincent on the Senior Center Advisory Committee expired August 2nd, 2024. I have contacted all 3 individuals, and they're willing to continue serving on the committee. Ann Gibbs and Lisa Vincent have served the maximum number of 2 consecutive terms allowed by city policy, but City Council has the authority to waive this section of the policy and has done so in the past. City Council took a ballot vote earlier, and all 3 received a unanimous vote to be reappointed. Therefore, I respectfully request City Council consider a motion to waive the city policy for Ms. Gibbs and Ms. Vincent and reappoint Ann Gibbs, Loretta Riddick, and Lisa Vincent to the Senior Center Advisory Committee.
All right, we hear a motion for those 3 individuals.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to waive the city policy for Ms. Gibbs, Ms. Vincent, and reappoint Ann Gibbs, Loretta Riddick, and Lisa Vincent to the Senior Center Advisory Committee.
Okay, motion is by Mr. Steinbach,
Second.
second by Ms. Bryant. Any more discussion on the matter? If there is none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion will be approved.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Johnson, budget amendment. Good evening.
Ordered our fire department $9,000 to purchase 2 carbon monoxide hemoglobin meters. So I would like you to consider a motion 2024.18 in the amount of $9,000.
Okay, anybody have any questions, Finance Director? If not, we would need a motion to approve this.
Mayor, I make a motion to consider a motion to adopt the budget ordinance 2024.18 in the amount of $9,000 for the NCU North Fire Community Benefit Grant.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Strickland and a second by Mr. Steinbach. Any more discussion on the matter? There is none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion will be approved. Mr. Davis?
All right, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I have the next item on your agenda, and that is addressing the vacancy that was created for former Councilman Smith's resignation from council. That would be in District 2. I've been here since 2019, and we've been through this process several times. But I think it's always good to give a refresher, both for the public and for the newer council members that maybe have not been through it as much as some other folks on the council. First of all, I'll say this, that with the exception of some very hard rails on some things, it's really up to council as far as how and when you want to fill this position. In all honesty, the council could choose to leave this position vacant until the next election. For that seat. But I want to be clear when I say that while council does have the power to do that, that is certainly not my suggestion, and I don't think it would be the suggestion of city staff either. As all of you know, we have 3 districts in the city, and to leave a council seat vacant in District 2 would leave those constituents with only 1 representative where they're due 2 under our charter. 2, just from a simple numbers perspective, with a smaller council like ours, that would increase the chances that with vacations and sickness and other scheduling conflicts, we may have quorum issues. So it's certainly our suggestion that council move to fill this vacancy in a timely manner. After giving due consideration to the process and potential interest in filling that seat. So first of all, let me talk about some I guess hard kind of legalities about what you can't do, and then I'll move into the choices that I think are for council. The first I'd like to say is when council appoints someone to fill this vacant seat, that person serves for the remainder of the vacated person's term. And I know we've been through that before, but I say that not so much for the people sitting on council that I believe know that, but for the media and the public. Council actually doesn't have the authority to do anything else other than that. If you look at the North Carolina General Statutes, they actually provide an alternative way for filling a seat where it would run at the next election. We don't have that available to us because of our city charter. And a city charter is one of the rare circumstances where a city charter can actually trump the general statutes. And that generally seems odd to people when they first encounter that, but what I always remind people is, well, cities only exist by virtue of the legislature allowing them to exist, and they have approved our charter. And one of the things that they can do within certain kind of hard lines is they can put provisions in a charter such as the what happens in the case of a vacancy, as in this case. They can allow a city in their charter to deviate from what the general statutes allow, and that is settled law. So you have to go by our charter. And the person that's appointed will serve the remainder of the remainder of the vacated term. The second thing is that with regard to decisions on how the vacancy is filled, the evaluation of potential interest, the discussion of qualifications, all of that must occur in open session. And of course, we've always done that in the city when it's come to filling vacancies of this nature. And, of course, closed sessions are incredibly rare for us in any case, and usually only happen with regard to personnel. And candidates for city council, even for appointments, are not city personnel. They're not public employees. They're candidates for public office. 2, lastly, and I think this probably goes without saying, but I'll say it just to cover the base. Council can only appoint somebody who is eligible to fill the seat, and that would mean someone who lives in District 2. And those maps are available. Certainly there's one in your packet, and I'm sure the media has them. If they don't, they can get them from us. So that's what you can't do. That's what we have to do. The next thing I'm going to talk about is really the kind of meat of this discussion, and that is the method for filling the vacancy. And ultimately, there are two methods that you can use to make the final decision. But how you get up to that point, how you fill in that kind of middle area where you solicit interest, where you give notice to the public, where you allow public comment, where you vet potential candidates, all of that is up to you. And so in figuring out how to kind of present this and to discuss this, I kind of decided, and I hope it's not confusing, to kind of present it in a reverse order. That is, to talk about the final vote as far as what our destination is, and then in the hopes that once council kind of understands what its possible destinations are, how it chooses to arrive at those destinations will be up to it. And so ultimately, there are two ways to choose how to fill the vacancy. The first is what I will term motion and vote. That's the one that was used when Councilman Stainback was appointed, when former Councilman Daughtry was appointed, and when Councilman Strickland was appointed. Basically, under that scenario is one council member makes a motion, and however it's worded, I think just as kind of a general guideline, it would be something like, I move that person A be appointed to fill the District 2 vacancy created by Councilman Smith's resignation. Assuming that motion receives a second, it will then go before council on an up or down vote. In the event of a tie in that vote, because of course we have 4 seated council members now given the vacancy, in the event of that tie, the mayor can vote to break that tie. So that's the first option, what I'm terming motion and vote. The second option is the ballot option. That is more analogous to how we feel most committees in the city, such as what we did earlier in the agenda today, where council members are provided a ballot listing the names of interested nominees, and then each member votes on one of them. There's a crucial difference under this second scenario, and that is that the mayor does not get to vote to break the tie. And so in the event of a tie under that ballot scenario, council would go through round after round of ballots until one doesn't result in a tie. And those are really your two options as far as how the final decision is determined. Now, the last 3 times that we've been through this process, and council each of those times has used the motion and vote option. And to my knowledge and from my recollection, for the last 2, the mayor had to vote to break a tie. And so I think because of those prior experiences, and also just because of the potential for a kind of embarrassing kind of deadlock under the nomination option, it would be my suggestion as city attorney that when it comes to the final determination, that rather than going with the ballot option, since it can deadlock, that council considers using the motion and vote procedure. But again, I'm addressing this in reverse order, so that's your destination. That's how you ultimately choose to make the decision once you've solicited interest and heard from candidates and all that stuff. So those are ultimately where we'll get at some point, but now I'm going to kind of go back and fill in the middle section as far as how do we get from point A to point B. It's up to you. Council could actually choose to fill the position today in this meeting. That's certainly not what I am suggesting, and I haven't really talked with city staff about it, but I don't believe that that's what city staff would suggest either. Instead, I suspect that council is going to want to solicit interest from potential candidates and the constituents of District 2. That's certainly what we've done in the past. City staff has prepared a draft application which is attached to your packet today. You can choose to use that as it is. You can choose to give us feedback as far as how council would like to see that modified. Also, council could, and again, I'm just throwing out options here, and we'll talk about them in a second, but council could choose to set a time at a future council meeting where potential interested candidates come in and give presentations or discuss why they think that they should be appointed to serve in this capacity. An important qualification with that is, as I said before, all of those discussions have to be done in an open meeting. Anything that is submitted to City Council is going to be a public record with respect to this application process. And I think what we've always done in the past is whatever is submitted as far as applications or other kind of letters of interest, when it kind of comes to the council meeting where that decision is going to get made, is going to get included in your packets, I think is what we've done in the past. Again, all public information. You can do some of those things, you can do all of those things, you can really do none of those things prior to making the ultimate decision, and which of those you choose really doesn't have any material impact on whether you ultimately can opt for the motion and vote option or for the nomination, or for the ballot option. So all of that said, I would open the floor to questions from council. I think it would be appropriate now for council to discuss how they would like to go through this process, and both to kind of direct the city staff as far as what kind of logistical aspects of this, as far as, do we want to have an application? Do we want to, what city staff tells folks when they come in to apply? And then also to give notice to the public as far as how council's actually going to go about this. So, I know that's a little bit of information. Like I say, subject to your questions, that's my presentation on this, and so I'll turn it over.
Okay, question for the city attorney?
Correct me, but when Mr. Strickland was appointed, was he not, did you not apply?
He did, that's correct, yes.
Okay, because I thought you said that.
We did, he applied and there was an application, if I recall correctly. Council still when they made the ultimate decision, it was a motion and vote context. It was not a ballot context.
But someone else did have an opportunity to also apply, am I correct?
They did, yes.
Okay.
And so like I say, even if you go with the motion and vote option, how you choose to get up to that point as far as, how you've solicited interest, how you kind of discuss the different candidates, all of that is up to city council. You can discuss the relative value of different candidates and whom you're going to vote for before that final vote takes place. And I believe that's what we did in Councilman Strickland's scenario.
Well, based on that, I just feel that we need to keep it open. I don't feel that it's just up to council to appoint someone. I feel like we've got people that are in the district, and if they have the desire, we should at least give them an opportunity to be considered. That's my opinion.
So, Ms. Brown, are you saying
Go for the application.
the application like we've done in the
Yes.
past, and then we have a,
And then we have a vote.
if we decide to have a vote correctly that night?
Yes, at that night, you can make a determination as far as how you choose to fill it, the so to speak, ultimate decision, as I've described it, between the motion and vote and the ballot.
Right, when I say the ballot, I mean, I'm interested in the ballot, but I'd also like to have whoever is interested come and just give a brief overview of why they're interested in serving. And we can go from there.
Has anything been sent out yet asking, for people to be able?
I think we were waiting for this meeting to have this discussion, and then the feedback from this discussion is going to kind of characterize what gets sent out.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I personally would like for the city to start advertising tomorrow with this application. Whoever's interested in District 2, fill out the application, turn it in to the clerk, and I would like to see it open until filled, and use the motion and vote process.
And so we certainly don't need a vote tonight really on anything. I think what we're looking for is maybe some consensus, maybe some feedback on this process, and then kind of go through and kind of implement that through the city's administrative authority.
Do we need to have a cutoff on when the applications can be sent in? I know Mr. Steinbach said it will be open until filled, but I was kind of under the impression that we might take it up at the next meeting. That's 2 weeks. Is that enough time?
Let me ask you something. Normally, most organizations, governmental organizations, correct me if I'm wrong, run it twice in the local paper or either news media, and then that usually is you run it at least once every 2 weeks, and then after that they usually look at what they have, correct? Most of the time.
That's the case for a lot of things where we have a legal obligation as far as notice. In this case, as I said, the procedures are really up to council. So if council says, well, we want to make sure to have that time, I mean, depending on how you look at it, you could say, well, 2 weeks is really too short. I mean, especially here we're in early August. Some kids are not in school yet. Some folks are still on summer vacation. It may be that council says, well, we want to give more time for folks to kind of get prepared for this. As I said, there's no real time limit on filling it. It is our suggestion that council act in a timely fashion to do it, but certainly, if it's advertised for 2 weeks or even and then comes on the September setting, that would be perfectly appropriate.
That's what I was about to ask. Do we need to make a motion for the 4 weeks or whatever?
You can if you want to, if that's what the consensus is, and
I'm used to about 4 weeks for those type of things.
We'll go with that.
I would like to make a motion that we put out advertising for people that want to apply for the vacancy in District 2 to publish it in at least for 4 weeks, and then we can and then look at what we have in the September meeting, the first September meeting of 2024.
Okay.
So let me just, I have a question. So we will be able to vote the first meeting in September because the advertising for 4 weeks is going to put it through the fourth Tuesday from now. So that would put it 6 weeks before we're able to vote on it.
That'll be the Tuesday after Labor Day, which will be 4 weeks.
All right, so we're saying that we would be able to possibly vote on someone in the first meeting in September.
Do you want to make that
Is that the
suggestion?
2nd of September or the 3rd of September?
I guess what's hanging me up is the advertised for 4 weeks.
I think the city manager.
Publish it twice
Okay.
during a 4-week period.
Okay.
Okay.
And have a deadline for the application, a concrete deadline of,
In looking at the calendar, our September meetings are Tuesday, September the 3rd, which is the day after Labor Day. I don't think we'll quite get your 4 weeks or 30 days in, especially if items need to be turned in a week ahead of time for inclusion in the packets. So what we could look at is the second meeting in September is the 17th, and have all applications submitted to the city clerk, say no later than the Thursday at noon the week before. So she'd have time to verify, so staff would have time to verify residency and voter registration and have those included in the packet for the September 17th meeting,
What's that Thursday before?
the 12th.
Okay.
So we have a deadline of like 12 noon, and people could either email or submit by hand their application.
So we're looking at 6 weeks instead of 4 now, is that correct?
yes.
Well, we're looking at the second meeting in September, however long that is.
Is the 3rd,
That's-
if we go with meeting for September 3rd, do we not agree that's not going to give enough time?
I mean, I think anyone that's interested by
I would think so.
Okay.
within 4 weeks, we would have anyone interested, we would know by then. I just think 6 weeks
What's the
is
Thursday before
a
that?
The
little bit.
Thursday before the
Well-
September 3rd meeting would be the 29th of August, which is almost just a little over 3 weeks from today.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No,
If applications are submitted the Thursday before the September 3rd meeting, that would be the 29th, and so that's just a little over 3 weeks from today.
I like that idea better myself.
And I'll just say, I know it's awkward to be hammering out scheduling details like this kind of here, but really because we have to do this in public session, it's just something that we got to do, sitting up here.
Deadline, then we'd vote on the 3rd.
I'm more favorable of the September 3rd.
Okay, I think that goes back to what Mr. Bill's motion was. Is that
Would you have a motion to amend your motion?
We won't make a 30-day.
We don't have to make
No, there's
I would
no,
like to make a motion that we post and advertise for applicants for the vacancy in District 2, and that the September the 3rd meeting, that we would look at all applicants and then go through basically go through the vote to determine for all those who have applied the choice, and that the Thursday prior to Labor Day 2024 will be the cutoff, and will be sent in to the appropriate administrative staff at the city office.
that works.
all right? Again, we have a motion by Councilman Bell to hear a second to his motion.
Second.
Second by Councilman Strickland. Any more discussion on the matter? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion be approved. Next would be
I think the clerk has a question.
I just wanted to be clear, so on this first meeting on September 3rd, do you want the applicants to be present, to make a presentation? Because I want to be able to tell them that when they ask.
they wish.
They should be present to present anything or make a presentation of some sort. Okay, I just want to make sure that I told them the right thing.
okay. City Manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's been a little bit odd sitting here quietly for the majority of this meeting. But just to go over a few things here that we have going on tonight, and the reason why we started this meeting a little bit earlier, the Roanoke Rapids Police Department and the local law enforcement agencies are participating with other law enforcement agencies across the United States in National Night Out. So tonight is the National Night Out across the nation, and so please make plans to go to Kirkwood tonight and check them out. They should have several different vendors and activities and things, information for all ages there this evening. The weather might be a little bit iffy, but we encourage people to attend tonight at Kirkwood. Just last week, the Police Department and Public Works Department teamed up and went around and collected and returned over 200 shopping carts to local businesses that have been taken off premises. And so we see now I'm starting to see one every once in a while since they've mentioned it, but we applaud their efforts to help do things to clean up the city and the appearance here. And one shopping cart at a time is one way to go. This upcoming Saturday, August the 10th at 5:00 p.m. at Martin Luther King Park will be a Syracuse Evans Day celebration. Recently, the Public Works Department has been working to improve the school zone paintings and crosswalk markings that are around our neighborhood schools. This does help to increase visibility, and it's exciting as a parent to know that our kids are going back to school soon. Kirkwood Adams will have a new electric message board sign installed, hopefully next week if the weather holds out. So that will be good at advertising local events and some things occurring at the community center. Our Parks and Recreation Department has been doing some minor improvements with hopes for future renovation at Rochelle Park. There's some tennis courts that were constructed probably around 1970 that have been around for twice their anticipated age, but repurposing those tennis courts, and it's really kind of been an eyesore in the neighborhood. So the department has removed the fencing that has been around the old tennis court and has done some kind of some scraping of some of the surface materials, and had a contractor out to look at a couple different options, and also an option for a grant that would be possibly available to help repurposing that to possibly some pickleball courts or something like that for that for that old facility there. And then in this building itself, the Recreation Department has ordered the new chairs and tables. That the chairs here have been they've been looking forward to being replaced for some time now. The summer camps have wrapped up for the season here. The Parks and Rec Department, along with some area instructors and leagues, held several different instructional camps throughout the summer. It's been probably one of the busiest summers that we've had since COVID occurred, with people in our facilities and families all hours of the day, and going from one to the next. The outdoor pool will close at 5 p.m. on Saturday, August the 10th. So this weekend, many of our lifeguards will be going back to school soon, and so we've had a pretty active summer season. Right now, there's adult softball or industrial league softball taking place on our athletic fields. There's 5 teams, 2 from Reesers, Dominion, West Rock, and the Roanoke Rapids Graded School District. The Challenger Recreation Center will soon have what is called a story walk, where there will be a book posted with pages along. It's like a walking book, so you read and walk a little, and so the book that's being looked at has some activities and things like that, like flying like a bird, or some of the things to help encourage recreation and healthy lifestyles, but then also giving people something to do. And then finally, the last thing to report here is we're all kind of keeping our eyes on Hurricane or Tropical Storm Debbie. This has been kind of something we're looking at every day. City departments started yesterday with any storm prep activities that we could have. We do expect to have a lot of rain. Public Works has already started with reducing some of the flood levels in Rochelle Pond in anticipation of receiving additional water. We are aware of areas that experience localized flooding. Some of those areas are on 10th Street at Georgia Avenue, like near where AAA used to be, Vine Street near the hospital, and just want to encourage citizens to use caution if they go out. If you see any flooded streets, turn around, don't drown, and so forth. I'm sure that our staff will do our best to post any updates to social media and through the city's website as it moves along. And so we'll have, I guess what we're preparing for is the potential for a state of emergency. So with that being said, the departments are clearing storm drain inlets and making sure there isn't any yard waste or debris blocking those, and so and checking generators. Another good source to use is ready.gov. It's a website that has a lot of really good, useful information and tools about building your own like little kit for being at home, and some other things about planning evacuations and so forth. So ready.gov is a great resource. And then my last thing is I'm going to ask Chief Patrick. He asked if he could share a few details about an upcoming event that they have planned.
So for the last few weeks, or if you all noticed a couple of weeks ago, Chief Guyant and myself went down to New Bern to visit with a local blood drive down there. They have been doing this for a couple of years now, and what they do is team up with the Red Cross to try to bring new donors in to giving blood. And so we went down back in July and visit with the chief of New Bern, both fire and police. And so I'm happy to announce today or tonight that we're going to be doing something very similar to what they are doing in October. We met today, and unfortunately Chief Gallant couldn't make it tonight here, but we will, I think it's October the 1st, we're going to do a Battle of the Badges blood drive. So what that consists of is anybody that comes in and gives blood from 12 to 6 that day will have the option to either put a red chip in for the fire department or a blue chip in for the police department. It's just a friendly competition that we're going to do. But of course, one of us will get more votes than the others, of course. But at the end of the day, the winners are the people in need of blood. The life that you may save by donating blood. So I encourage all of you all to come out and to help support us with this. And there will be plenty of information that will be coming forth over the next few months. But we just wanted to go ahead and announce that and put that out there. I believe we are right at the edge of that window as far as being able to donate or not. So I encourage you to, if you haven't donated in the last month, hold off till October, because I think it's like a 50-some day window. Once you donate, you can't donate again for 50-some days. And I think the young lady said today we were right at like 55. So, like I said, we encourage you to come out and vote. Of course, you know me. I'm asking for you to put the red chip in, especially since Chief Gallant's not here. But like I said, at the end of the day, just as long as you come and give, because the real winners are the people that actually need the donation. So, any questions?
Will there be snacks?
Yes, there will be snacks, and we're going to try to do a little bit better than just juice and crackers. In New Bern, they had a lot of their local businesses that had donated different foods, from pizza to, I think they have a Panera Bread and a couple more things. Different places had donated food, so you got a pretty good meal, I guess you could say, after you donated. But it was a real good community event. It wasn't just about the fire and the police department. It was citywide. There was a lot of city employees there donating, and a lot of community members there. So she said normally here in Roanoke Rapids, the local drive, which they're actually doing one today, usually brings in somewhere between 60 and 70 pints. And we're going to bump it up over 100 is what we're going to shoot for by doing this. So, like I said, I just encourage any of you all that know anybody, and be a first-time donor. When I went to New Bern, of course, Mr. Gallant gave me a hard time because I'm a fireman, but I don't like my own blood. Okay, so it took a little persuasion and a little bit of picking, I guess, back and forth. But I did donate, and it wasn't that bad. So. But thank y'all.
Thank you.
Anything else? I just had a question to the city manager. You mentioned Civic Center getting a new sign. Can you give me any kind of an update on where we are with the library and trying to move forward with that? It's been a year or more, and we still don't have a sign, or we don't have anything down there.
Well, it has been almost a year yet, and I've been in touch with the Chichester family, with Mrs. Chichester, and so she was looking at some dates in the fall, but she hasn't given me a finalized date yet on that. But our Parks and Rec director has been working with that to get a sign vendor out there and find something complimentary. So that is in progress, and we anticipate it'll probably be in the fall when that ceremony takes place.
Okay, I would hate mighty bad for them to come and the sign not be there. So let's try to keep that on the front burner.
Yes, sir.
And might need to ask Public Works Director, downtown in the cone section, on the left side I guess it's at 200 block, got some cones where the brick pavers are. Is that where they're dropping down, or what is the problem down there?
I think you may be talking about downtown at Roanoke Avenue and 2nd Street.
Well, not at 2nd Street, between 2nd and 3rd. It's two cones on near the curb, and it looks like the pavers have just dropped down. I don't know if it's a storm drain or it's the paver.
I think there was a light pole that was struck there in a traffic accident some time ago.
Okay.
I may need to follow up on that and make sure we're talking about the same location. But I think that's back toward 3rd Street more so than 2nd Street where you're talking about, on the west side of the avenue. But I will visit there and try to see update you on that if I can.
Well, while I'm talking about the pavers, I mean, when I'm riding up and down that, they look to me like they're getting unlevel in right many places. So I guess we probably need to kind of keep an eye on that.
We've been monitoring those pavers since they were originally installed. Unfortunately, I came along about halfway through that project. I feel that we may be better, or money may be better spent to start removing some of those brick pavers and go back with some type of concrete once the budget allows for us to do that. In the meantime, we've just been trying to maintain it as best we can. But brick pavers are very difficult to maintain unless you put a concrete base under them so they can't move around a lot. And that was unfortunately not done as part of that project there.
Well, it was a major job for the city to undertake.
It was.
It seemed like it got bigger after they started.
It did.
You know,
Yes,
it
sir.
was a big job.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
information. Anybody else have anything? If not, I would call for a meeting to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Steinbach. Second by Ms. Bryant. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Adjourn.